normally called it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's what they normally call it. So, and then it goes on here. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. So all these things
I agree.
will happen within the generation then living.
I agree.
And of course that did not happen. And that's the problem for Christian eschatology. All the things. What? Obviously the temple happened, destruction of the temple, but all these things, the coming of the Son of Man,
I believe that happened.
hasn't happened yet.
So
When did it happen? Because they believe the second coming happened in 1914.
I'm not saying that. So at least the preterists I've read would say the coming of the
What
Son.
would you say?
Okay, so I would say the coming of the Son of Man happened in AD 70 when the Jewish temple was destroyed and then Jesus was vindicated against the Jewish opponents. That was the vindication of the Son of Man. The Son of Man was enthroned with the clouds of heaven.
So he wasn't enthroned before and he became enthroned in AD 70.
It's a symbolic enthronement. Well, I'm not entirely sure. Did he temporarily give up his kingship until this time? Maybe, or you can say it's a reenactment of the kingship he always
So
has.
Jesus gave up his kingship after he was resurrected, and then
Not after resurrection, sorry.
After his
In
ascension.
incarnation, maybe he gives up his kingship there. Who knows?
no, at the resurrection, he was installed at the right hand of God. So that his vindication happened at his Messiah, at his resurrection. But now you're saying after that, then he somehow had to step down from his throne and then was rethroned at AD 70.
So maybe it's not that. Maybe it is then a representation of his enthronement.
Representation. What does that mean in everyday language? He did it again.
So-
He got up and then sat down again.
As in, it becomes manifest. So Jesus at the resurrection, perhaps you could say, was enthroned, put next to the right hand of God, as John 1:10 says. The point of AD 70 is the whole world will know this. So in the same way the Queen has her actual birthday and her ceremonial birthday, so Jesus has an actual enthronement to the resurrection, and then the whole world sees his enthronement at AD 70.
And how does the whole world see his enthronement at the destruction of Jerusalem?
The whole world knows that he has been vindicated in his prophecy. Judgment is falling upon Israel for rejecting his Messiah.
So how does the whole world know? There's no record of anyone in the whole world recognizing that.
Oh, the whole world knows the Jewish temple.
No. So that Jesus was vindicated and is now enthroned. Now that's what the point of AD 70 is. Jesus was vindicated and enthroned publicly throughout the whole world. But I don't know whether anyone in history at that time at all whatsoever, outside of Christian circles, saying that he was enthroned anywhere.
So I'm not. It's not that the whole world would recognise Jesus as enthroned. But the point is that for those who they would recognise Jesus as vindicated.
In the earliest curricula, as you know, in the early church, it wasn't that Jesus was vindicated and enthroned at his resurrection. And that was the central. His central vindication and exaltation and enthronement absolutely was not the destruction of the temple. It was at his resurrection.
I'm saying it's both.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not both. It was only his resurrection. There's nowhere in the early curricula, in the book of Acts, for example, does it say that Jesus would be enthroned when the temple is destroyed. Or in any way represented or re-enthroned, whatever you want, formula you want to have.
But I'm saying the apocalyptic texts are the ones saying precisely that.
But I'm saying that the earliest curriculum doesn't say that. The early preaching of the church.
Talking about something different.
But if this second representation was so central to Jesus and the worldwide recognition of his kingship and so on, you'd expect that to be mentioned in the earliest curriculum. And I'm not aware of any curricula where that is correct.
I don't know a huge amount about what scholars consider to be the early curriculum of the New Testament. I know a little bit, not much. Maybe it's not
From what you do know, what was the preaching of the early church? Did it include Jesus' enthronement at the destruction of the temple? Was this part of the preaching message? I'm not sure. Okay. The other point is when it says in Mark 13 that the Son of Man will return, so he's coming back and will call the four corners of the earth, he will call the angels, call the saints. What does that refer to?
So the Son of Man coming in clouds, as I understand it, this isn't him coming to earth, this is him coming or going to the heavenly setting in Daniel 7. So I don't think he's coming down to earth.
Yeah, but the bit about the four...
Yeah, so then he will send out the angels. So I believe he has sent out his angels or his messengers, as the Greek term can be translated, and they are converting the world. So that is the process we are now in.
And that happens at AD 70.
That is when the process began. When he said, it's not when they finished, they're told.
So at AD 70, at that point, then the angels were sent out. Even though he's gathering them in, they were sent out. Is that what you're saying? The languages of gathering in, the angels were gathered in the elect from the four corners. So how did that happen at AD 70? I just don't see it happening.
It didn't all happen, the process began.
Right.
So then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. So at AD 70, the first century, he sends out the angels
To do what?
to go out and proclaim the gospel, have spiritual victory over the nation. I don't know, maybe it's human messengers, something to do with spreading the gospel. And that is.
So the gospel wasn't preached until AD 70, and that's when the gospel started to be preached.
Yeah, I mean, it was preached before then. I don't know, maybe AD 70 is when the heavenly angels are sent out. I don't know, maybe.
The angels don't preach the gospel. Have you ever seen an angel preach to you?
But this is your spiritual warfare in the New Testament that I have out.
No, but you said that they were sent out to preach the gospel.
Then I misspoke. Well, unless we understand this is human messengers.
See, okay, I don't find it. I mean, I'm aware of this scenario. I don't find any of it plausible. It's too much like exegesis, like eisegesis, rather than exegesis, which is reading out the text. I think traditionally the church has always understood these passages referring to the second coming of Jesus, and that's the problem. Gathering in the elect from the four corners is eschatological act, but we have been thousands of years have passed, 2,000 years have passed, and we're exactly the same situation as we were in the first century. I don't see the coming of the elect. I don't see any significant event happening after the destruction of the temple. I think it's just destruction of the temple. So I don't. But also, in favour of what I'm saying in terms of the imminence of the end, there are many other passages in John, in Paul's letters, and James and John, which talk about the imminence of the end.
So I'd say some of the bits in Paul could be understood as the Lord will come quickly, we don't know when. Some of them, again, could be referring to AD 70, but we'd have to look at those individually.
I don't think they do historically in their content. They don't talk about the destruction of the temple. For example, at the end of 2 Corinthians, Paul says, "Listen, I tell you a mystery." Now he's writing to the Corinthians. We will not all die, but we will all be raised in glorious immortal and so on. So he's saying that not everyone that he writes to will die, because the second coming will happen. Some will be raised up into heaven without having died, and others will die, but they'll also be raised.
And you understand, we there is referring to the church, the body of Christ. So we involved Paul and his earthly recipients. It could be later generations of Christians. The fact is, we Christians will not all die, we will all die. That's how I understand it.
But I don't think that's an historical reading. I think that is a Christianized, as a Christian reading rather than historical reading.
I think either make good historical sense.
Free food. I don't think they do, because if you understand Paul expecting the imminence of the end, and there are many passages in Paul where, like in 1 Corinthians 7, for example, and people are living on the edge. He's not expecting many generations to come.
Well, we might disagree on that.
We do. So therefore, it's unlikely that he was talking about a future church. He's writing to the Corinthians. He says, "Listen, Corinthians, we will not all die." And they would immediately have reference to that about themselves. Some of us will not die, some of us will. But of course, the end didn't happen, and Paul was mistaken, and the church carried on for thousands of years. So this thing again is a mistaken expectation. The heart of the gospel itself is based on a mistake.
We would agree to disagree.
That is the consensus, as far as I can see,
The
of biblical
consensus, I
scholars.
think, is against me, yeah.
But I think there's good reasons why a wide majority of Oxford and Cambridge and Harvard and Stonewall, everywhere else, having examined forensically the text, come to the same conclusion. And we just agree to disagree on.
Absolutely. And the scholars are against me, I would agree with that.